another episode of Hey Hire Us. I'm Abigail.
I'm Ariel.
And I'm Tyler.
Welcome!
There we go!
We jumped ahead.
Tyler is enthusiastic and we love it. And today our guest is Tyler.
I was a cheerleader in another life, fun fact. Oh, here's Nori.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god.
I'll include this in the video. I'll be like, this is Nori.
Tyler is a wonderful dog.
I told you she would come when she wanted to. Not when you asked her.
So cute.
But hello. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for
thanks,
being
guys.
with us.
Oh, anytime.
Would you like to formally introduce yourself to our viewers then?
Of course. Hi, viewers. I'm Tyler Washington. You may know me as Miss Washington on like every social media site you can possibly find, minus LinkedIn. And I'm a story artist. I have a rambunctious 9-month-old puppy named Nori who's trying to bite my arm as we speak. And I went to Micah for 4 years. Mm-hmm. I graduated last May, and my family makes fun of me because I was like 100% the kid who like came out of the womb like ready to make art.
Yeah.
That's me too.
Yeah,
like looking back at it now.
Has stories like, I remember when Tyler was like a kid and she would just like draw some shit and I don't know if I can swear on this, but I did.
Yeah, go ahead.
She just
this
draw
is a free
some
space.
shit, and she would like bring it up to you, and it always came from like a story. Like it'd just be like two stick figures, and she'd be like, "All right, so this is like an evil princess, and this is like a good princess, and they're sisters." Like it always came from like a crazy story, but she'd like draw this stuff out, and like it always came from some plot line, and I was like, "Yeah, no, that hasn't changed." So I guess storyboarding, like someone told me, you can do both at the same time, and you don't have to be great at either. So it's kind of neat.
That's perfect. As you know, if you've been listening to our podcast, we have some corners, and the first one is the pitching corner, where our guests will pitch themselves either through a rap or Broadway style. No one has done that yet, or spoken word or infomercial style. So what do you have prepared for us today, Tyler?
Oh, pitch myself. I'm not a rapper. Let me think.
Yeah, we'll give you time to think. We usually cut out all the thinking time.
Pitch myself. I feel like I should try rapping just for you guys. Try a freestyle.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
Nori, give me a beat. Okay. I just turned 23. You should hire me. I need a job to work at Disney, Nickelodeon, or Netflix TV. If you want to hang out with me, I can be your storyboard artist. You just gotta take a chance. And I promise that I'll take you the farthest. I got a little puppy. Her name is Nori. She can be my inspiration, take you to your destination, the popular animation, that we be creation, that we be creating. So my name is Tyler, and you should give me a chance. And if you like this rap, hire me. Please, and I can dance.
Yeah! That's so good!
That's so good!
I love it!
Nice.
I feel like we haven't had a spontaneous freestyle in a while, so
rap.
That energy was so
People have been
great.
coming in like, I've prepared something,
Yeah,
and I'm like, all right, sure, but we love some spontaneous energy.
If you need chaotic, another pitch, the pitch to myself, you need chaotic energy in your life. I can be both the mom friend and your psycho friend that you have to pull out of the bar.
I love it.
I'm very what's the word?
Versatile.
Yes,
yeah.
you are. We love that in a client. In a prospective story artist. But I love just doing this because I always find out really cool things about friends and get to listen about their projects. But probably one of my favorite things while looking at your website was that Brandy's Cinderella was what got you into wanting to pursue animation. And me and Ariel, I told her that, and we were like, oh my god, we gotta talk about this because we love it too.
I love that version of Cinderella. It's so much.
The best.
It's the only Cinderella I know.
Thank you.
So good.
When they remade it with Selena Gomez or someone when I was 10. I think no, it was that one too, but also it was the one they just did Disney when Disney did start their live action thing. The one with, what's her face? She's not even. That's why I blocked it out. Like, but you know what I mean?
Like, no.
The live action one that just came out. I was like, stop making Cinderella movies. We made these Cinderella movies.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, stop making them. Brandy did what she had to do. And I haven't seen that movie in 20 years, but like,
Oh, it's so good.
I remember like being 5 and being like, yes.
It's so good. I mean, you got Brandy as Cinderella, you got Whitney as the freaking fairy
Whoopi
godmother.
Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
And her white husband.
Yeah.
Making an Asian,
Asian child.
East Asian child.
I love it.
What more can you ask for?
And when I was 4, I was like, yeah, this clock's out. I didn't question that at all. I was like, yeah, that's a black woman and a white man having an Asian child. It's normal. That's what happens
Oh,
when you have
I
biracial
love that
relationships.
so much.
I love that movie. Yeah, it meant so much to me as a kid. I don't remember anything, but I just know that like it has a special place in my heart.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
more
God.
stories. I feel like should just take that. It doesn't have. I don't know. I hate like this whole like culture now where it's like that people look for mistakes and they're like that wouldn't make sense. I'm like, who cares? It's a fantasy. There's a pumpkin that turns into a carriage. I don't care about logistics. It just happened.
Exactly. Like no one questioned that. Like it's like everyone's favorite part of that movie is the fact that like that doesn't make sense. Like everyone's like, we like that. That's the
Yes,
good
we
part.
love
That's
it.
just the way it is. Like
Yeah.
our brains just like, you know what? This is it. I accept this.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Like to this day, I'm like that's totally natural. Like that's just how it goes.
yeah.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
just seeing like a biracial couple is so cool. Like,
And like the early like late 90s, I think too. Like
yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this was like made like a year before we were all like born.
yeah,
I'm pretty
like,
sure.
I was
I'm
in
like,
like 97.
when did
so-
it even come out? But yeah.
Yeah, like late 90s, like a biracial couple,
Uh-huh,
like
yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg. Too,
Oh
like,
my
you know,
gosh.
like not
That-
everyone's like go to like black actress, but like she's like I'm the mom now.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just so cool that that's like what inspires you to bring diversity into the industry in your work, because that's like something that's like really important to me and Ariel, and I'm like, that movie is honestly just like the blueprint for just like putting in all these because even the like background characters and like it's so lovely and lively and colorful, and I'm like, I want more of that. Like, who cares about gritty gray live action drama?
Yeah, I was gonna bring up like with like the whole culture now of like live action stuff. It's still like it's not fun. It's not. I don't see
I
anything
cried
new
when I
coming
saw the
out of it.
Wings
I'm
Club,
like, oh my gosh.
like they mean so much to me, the Wings Club girls, and
Me
I saw
too.
that and I like
And they got rid of like Musa,
Yeah.
my girl, the one Asian like fairy in the cast, and they got rid of Flora. Who else did they get rid of? Layla. They got rid of Layla.
yeah,
Is
but,
Layla
like,
there?
she's still there, but like they like nixed. I think Flora, like she was Latina or Afro Latina.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they just made her a white girl. And I'm like, you can have plus size diversity
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
also keep her Afro Latina. Like
Yes,
it doesn't have to
that
be one or
is-
the other. Like,
That'd be so powerful, TV.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. Anyway, speaking about like how it relates to your work, because like I think one of the first things that I saw from you, and I think maybe follow you, was your senior film, Combust, right? It is, and it was like so cool and so good, and I'm like, this is like the senior film that I wish that I made, because
Stop.
I totally like could see yourself in that story, and I don't know, it was so relatable to me. Like, do you want to talk
Yeah.
about like coming up with that concept and the whole process of making it?
Yeah, I did not want to do Combust, which is like the funniest thing. Like I wanted to do Crow, which you see a lot on like my
Yeah.
stuff all the time. Like I was dead set on Crow. Like I was like, I'm just gonna throw in an extra idea because I had to have 2.
Mhm.
And then like I would talk to people and I'd be like, I really love Crow, and everyone's like, yeah, we love Crow, and I'd be like, but Combust feels like it could be something, and everyone's like, yeah. So it's kind of funny. Like I was like, everyone's like, this is so perfect for like diversity and telling about like the struggle of just not being like just a woman and like a woman of color in like the world, and like it was kind of like oh, I'm kind of doing something here with Combust. I remember I had a conversation with like he had graduated, my classmate Chris, and we were like at SPX and talking about it. And I was explaining it to him, and he was like, listen, like as a man of color, like the idea of like my emotions are dangerous is something that can totally like get behind. So I was like, oh my god, this is something that like everyone can kind of relate to. Like,
Yeah.
I showed it to like my older white coworkers at work, and they'd be like, oh, I could relate to this scene and that scene. And it's like, wow, like, you know, even if you don't relate to all of Ash's struggles, you relate to like the small things. And I feel like that's what I like about it.
Just like, especially because I watched it again right before this interview, and like, especially doing us in the job hunt struggle, it's like the last bit that like tips Ash over the edge. I'm like, oh my gosh, just like not getting in. I'm like, that's so relatable. Of like, you have those days where like everything just comes crashing down, and like, I don't know, you're usually used to the rejection, but like sometimes it can really hurt.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's just like one thing on top of another. I feel like had the rejection came on any other day, she might have handled it better. It's just like she had such a shitty day. And she was like, and she really thought she was gonna get that job that morning.
Yeah,
you know, like,
that's
she's ready
the
to get like an
worst.
exception, and like she did it, and it was already on top of a bad day. So she's like, listen, I've had enough. Like, you know, so.
Yeah, it was so good. And of course, like, I love talking about like your other projects like Crow, because like you have a lot of boards on that whole project, and I'm like, I want to know more like about how it came to be, and like, do you want to make it into a pitch and something like that? Yes. Yes.
Crow would be my dream. Like, if I can hold on to him for maybe like 10 years until I work my way up the ladder, so I can like pitch him and like no one like questions it, or it's like, yeah, make it, Tyler. I'm like, cool. That would be like my goal. He wasn't, everything I do is an accident, I'm finding out.
That's
so, he was a assignment for like not even an animation class or like a character design class, like my digital illustration class. Like, that's to learn how to illustrate digitally in Photoshop. Yeah, and he was like, I got a prompt and it was Floral Swamp. It was like, make a character based off that prompt. And I was like, what if there's a space cadet and he crashed in this swamp planet?
Yeah.
And then it went ham. Like, you know, so like, he has a frog friend, and like, he goes to a school. And like, I was explaining it to like my digital illustration class, and they were like, oh, okay. I was like, here's the school he goes to, and here are all his friends, and I made him a frog, doesn't have legs, his name's Shermie, and he has a mouth, but he doesn't eat with his mouth. You put food on him and he absorbs it. And like,
that's so funny. I feel like a lot of our best ideas are as artists, they come at such random times, because I totally relate. Some of my best work like they don't even come from like classes that like directly influence like what I want to do. Like, one of my stories came from like a 3D modeling class, but like I don't want to do that. But yeah, that's so interesting.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. No, like, Shermie's I like showed my brother like Crow's little circle frog guy, and my brother's like, this is your magnum opus. Like, this is like, you're never gonna top this circle guy you made, this little circle frog.
Oh my
And
God.
so yeah, that's Crow. He's like a stupid little space cadet. He's like 15, and he has cooler friends.
Oh, I love like your most recent boards of like seeing the friends interact, because I feel like the way you board them, it just feels like I can totally see people in my life that are like that. Like, they feel like real, tangible people. So I'm like, I want to know more about them.
Based off, I think Pecker, who I love to make the most, is based off of, I'm not sure if you guys know Jasmine Supokaki, also known as Cool Beans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jasmine, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Is my inspiration for Pecker. So like, a lot of like Pecker's mannerisms and like personality traits are like from Jasmine. Like, her hair, like her design is just Jasmine.
That's so cute.
Yeah, and then like, I feel like the rest of them are like bits of me spread out into characters. Like, Jay is like the responsible one, and Heron's like the mom friend who's like no nonsense, and Crane's just like an asshole, and then like Crow's just like a sweet baby child who's just like, and then they all have like, as I'm like the definition of those stupid jokes that are like, the OC is like smiley characters, like the backstory is like dark and sinister, and so like all of them have like sad backstories, and Crow's like, can you guys get therapy? And it's basically like the whole like story.
It's so good. I'm especially inspired by that, because making OCs and keeping them consistent and like thinking, and even giving them names, I like come up with a character, I don't name them, and then they just die in the OC graveyard. Like, that's really inspiring to me, and that's something I want to get better this year. So it was really cool seeing like your boards on them, and I'm excited to see more, and hopefully a pitch in the future.
Hopefully. I had like a portfolio review like in June when like people were offering them. And Daniel Chung from We Bear Bears was like, you have a lot of like pitchable stuff. You should pitch to Space Cadets. And I was like, like, you know,
Wow.
I was like, Daniel, the highest honor, Mr. Bear.
Yeah,
Mr. Bear himself.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's so cool.
Like,
yeah.
moving on to your freelance work, which I am very excited to hear because I have like no experience with that. I saw that like you mostly work on like trailers like Goat Girl, which I looked up and it's a very cute looking story. Do you want to go into your experience of like boarding the trailer?
Yeah. Goat Girl was so Daily Madness is an animation studio in Ireland, and they have like a whole thing about purposely reaching out to like non-binary and women-identifying people.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and trying to get to like their first credit on things.
Oh
so,
my
like,
god.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it was really cool. I was like, oh, you guys found me, and they were like, we really wanted to work with you. Like, we saw your stuff. We thought you'd be perfect for it.
That's
Wanted to give you your first like credit on something, and so. They're like, we have this show, we're gonna pitch it to Cartoon Forum, which is like I was like, we should do this in America. It's like a huge, like sort of like South by Southwest, where like you just go and pitch animation.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
wow.
Like, and like everyone, like all the European countries just come in like different animation studios around Europe, just pitch like cartoon, and then they get picked up by like, you know, whatever channels they have over there. I don't know.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's so cool.
And I was like, oh, cool. And they're like, we want you to do our trailer for that we're gonna show at this huge like convention to get, you know, to hopefully get it greenlit. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, Go Girl's really cute. Like, I'm not sure how much I can talk about the storyline, but since it's already out there, it's basically this cute little girl whose name I forgot. I'm so sorry, Lindsay. And she was raised by goats. Thanks, Goat Girl. And Gigi, her name's Gigi. Gigi, Goat Girl.
Goat Girl.
Oh my god.
So, she's raised by goats, and basically she's like a superhuman. Like, she can do anything goats can do. She can like
Oh my god.
walk up walls vertically and stay there, and she eats like wood, like cans. And I'm a Capricorn, like Abby.
Yeah.
Wink. And I was like, oh dude, I'm so into goats. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I can do this. So yeah, no, it was super cute. And like, I started like releasing sort of like the snippets of the trailer, and like it's kind of like, as a storyboard artist, like to see the stuff that you boarded out finally animated and colored and finalized, I was like,
yeah.
this is, I did that.
That's
awesome. That's so satisfying for storyboard artists, because I'm not a storyboard artist, but you guys actually get to see like the stuff you make like actually play out, whereas like for like the art department, like a good chunk of our stuff is cut out. It's fine. I've accepted my fate. But I don't know. It's just so cool to me that you guys literally like will see your stuff like playing, and I'm like, wow, what a feeling.
Man.
I'm like literally on like their Instagram, they keep updating, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Like sharing it, like, I did that. Like, so,
Oh
yeah.
man. Was it like, because that was like your first like big gig, I think, and was it kind of like intimidating trying to get into it and like work with a director, or like how was the kind of transition to it?
I don't know if it was sort of intimidating, because like I had, you know, like there was a lot of like burnout during that summer of all the things with Black Lives Matter, and people like wanting to give people of color, and especially Black people, like opportunities. Like I was getting like stuff thrown at me, and I was like, I was like not ready for it. Like at the same time, like, you know, like it's great that people were like, we want to give back, but like I was literally getting like projects like every 5 seconds. And I'm like, I can't make video games. I can't like, it was just like, you know. So when like Go Girl wasn't so intimidating, I was just like, it taught me a lot about storyboarding, you know, like I like did all my boards in like Procreate, and like my director was like, hey Tyler, just a heads up, when you like board, make sure you board outside the box so we can move things, and don't like flatten your pictures so that we can move characters around, because that makes a pain in the butt. Like, oh, my bad. Just have me that. You know, like, so that was like the intimidating part, and I feel like I spent like way more time than I probably got paid to do, because like I really wanted to like impress them. Like I sent them like my roughs, and they were like, these are basically finished.
Whoa.
So just do these corrections that we drew on, and then you probably won't need a second round of cleanup. And I was like, oh, okay. I thought these were rough. Like,
That's
know,
awesome.
So I was like, but that was just me like trying to show off. I was like, these are more than stick figures. Check it out. Like,
Yeah.
So like, I feel like they're like, are you just you didn't make this yet? Like, that's what they were like kind of shocked. Like I scared them off a little bit. They're like, you know how to draw.
I mean, it's just learning experience, though. Now you know. That's
like I was like,
though.
when I do a rough, it's just a stick figure now. I don't use it.
Exactly.
Design characters.
Yeah, that's awesome. And like, you're working on another trail now called for comical foods, like Kumans, the comic. That's
it's
so
a
cool.
comic. They're like it's part of their Kickstarter. I think I just wrapped that one up.
Ooh, nice.
Again, I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to talk about it. But basically, it's a comic about food people who are also refugees.
Ooh.
And it focuses on like their refugee journey of like trying to reconnect with like family. The writer Christian, he's Latino, I believe, Latinx. So I feel like this is like a personal story to him, just like the refugee story and like, you know, trying to get back to your family. And even like, I don't know if it's like personal, like he's gone through it, or like personal just because like as a Latinx person, he feels like it's a story that needs to be told.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool, like food people and space. I like space travel, so I'm like space travel.
Yeah.
So I was like, this seems interesting. So yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. All these projects seem so cool, and like that's awesome that you're getting all the experience, and that's why you should hire Tyler, because as you can see, they consistently produce great work and deliver for their clients. That's awesome.
But yeah, that's great. But, you know, we've been talking about many great things, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but usually this is at the point of the podcast where, you know, things take a downhill trip. So how's your job hunt search going?
You know, I got like a contract kind of job at like this little animation studio in Baltimore for a preschool show. And like, it's great to be like, I have a job and it's lasting more than 2 weeks of freelance, you know?
I get that.
I get to say that. My mom was laughing at me because I came back. I was like, yeah, I have a job. And she was like, why the sad face? I'm like, I don't know. It's just not. I'm not like show running like Space Cadets. Right? I'm a bummer.
Oh my gosh, what a mood though.
That's the kind of like person I am. I'm like, well, you know, I'm not like Walt Disney. I'm not like Hayao Miyazaki. You know, like, it's kind of sucks that like no one like knows my name and like I'm not like a household name. And
One day that's going to happen.
That is gonna happen though.
It's gonna happen.
That's my mom. She's like, girl, that's on your resume. Shut up. I was like, yeah, but you know, it's not like Netflix.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
yeah, no, I feel that. I feel that. No. What a mood.
Yeah, that's why if you see me, I'm still like, hey guys, I'm still for hire. Because like my brain, I'm like, I can always do better. Like that's just the Capricorn kind of mindset. I'm like, I can always do better.
Yeah.
Until I'm running my own animation studio. Like,
exactly.
I haven't done it yet, you know. So
that's cool that you are on a project though. That comforts me to know. Because like for this question, we do. Like, not everyone, like, answers with, like, oh, it's the worst thing ever. Some people are doing fairly well, so I'm like, that's awesome. Like, it's not like we push for people to suffer. We
like,
just want to...
you're having a good time.
Yeah, we just want to know how is it going.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you try to find these kinds of jobs, like, for freelance and things like that? Like, do you go to specific... Do you go on LinkedIn a lot?
I hate LinkedIn.
I feel like that's a general consensus. Like everyone's like, yeah, we also have LinkedIn, but like no one.
I have LinkedIn so that like people think I'm an adult.
Yeah, they know you're a real person.
Yeah. And that I've had a job. That's what I use LinkedIn for. I use LinkedIn so I can Google other people.
Oh yeah.
Fair.
That's how you can find recruiters
That's
too.
That's true.
That's about it. And I'm sure every recruiter on Nickelodeon gets a little thing from me that's like, Tyler Washington looks at your page.
Yeah.
Like, who do I address in his cover letter? I've stopped addressing people in cover letters at this point. I don't.
Yeah, I just address the studio.
I'm just like, hey. I'm just like,
what up?
It's me again.
It's me again.
Yeah, it's me.
But yeah, like I'm privileged enough that like shit gets thrown at me.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, like Go Girl Kumans were both people reaching out to me. Like my current contract job was like an alumni at Micah reaching out, being like, hey, I work here. Do you want to work here?
That's so good.
Yeah, so I'm like, wow, this is the epitome of like all the things your professors tell you. You know? Be a good person and put your stuff out there.
Yeah.
Things actually do fall into your lap.
Yeah. And I'm like, at studios, at Nickelodeon, who's probably listening right now, you see people want to hire Tyler because Tyler's a good person, and you should hire her.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I'm a very good person. I volunteer my time taking care of a puppy. I clean the house when my mom's at work.
Yeah.
And I make a pretty good latte. I've been barista for 4 years.
Hey, there
So
you go.
if you want anything more than a brewed coffee, I got you.
Yeah, once
Nice.
quarantine is over.
Once quarantine is over, I'm gonna make the best drinks in the studio. Y'all just come to me if you want a matcha latte.
If we ever work in the same studio, I'm gonna hold you to that, Tyler.
They gotta buy us an espresso machine though. Like,
Yeah.
I need like a
OMG.
frother. Like you need like the espresso machine. I worked as a barista for years. The espresso machine is not a high grade one. The milk froth will not come out a good quality.
Yeah.
You can change the drink. It's the froth.
I've never been a barista, but I'm just a big coffee enthusiast. But I feel you on that. I'm like, if it's not the froth isn't good,
The foam.
the foam.
Me on the other hand doesn't drink coffee.
We're not talking.
Oh.
Well, but
I'll drink your coffee though.
I drink coffee religiously. Yeah.
that's me. Oh my gosh, we're gonna bond over this like next
coffee
time.
life.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Coffee time.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But since
yeah.
you're like doing freelance, I feel like Abby should be the one asking you more about this, especially as a storyboard artist. So like, how do you actually go about your like pricing or rates?
Yeah. I would love to know.
as a storyboard artist.
Yeah, I look at union rates for California, even though I'm in Columbia, Maryland, but I feel like you're basically the same price range.
Yeah.
But, like, Maryland's expensive. But, yeah, I look at California's like union rates. So like when people like reach out to me and they're like, how much would you like to be paid? I usually ask around, like, I think union for storyboarding is like $45 an hour. So I usually ask that. I don't try to lowball myself too much because, like, listen, I kind of know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You got a degree for this.
You have projects under your belt too. So
Yeah. So I'm like, I think when I did Goat Girl, I said 35 just to be safe because it was like my first thing ever. And I didn't want not scare them away, but like honestly, like I'm not like an industry professional at that point. Like my first like actual.
Yeah.
So 35. But I think normally when people ask, I say about 40 now.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
Yeah. So I'm like, I know what I'm doing a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to hear because
45 is pushing it, but 40.
There you go.
That's actually been a big discussion between like me, our friend groups, like with me and Abby, because pricing is just something like hearing studios and like people hiring try to lowball my friends, people we know. It's so hurtful and so disrespectful. I'm just like, dude, come on.
It is.
We're like making the stuff for you.
It's like, just pay me fairly. Like,
exactly.
I'm like, I probably don't get hired from most places because I'd be like, I haven't worked at a studio, but you should pay me fairly. And they're like, I don't know about that. Like, that's like, I'm like, my mom's like, she thinks that's so funny. I'm like, yeah, that's probably why. I like my $45 an hour.
No, but
yeah,
it's good to set that precedent for the whole
for
like,
sure.
industry.
Yeah, and just like a note to like our listeners, if you're looking, if you're also like on the freelance kind of like route and you're looking for how to price yourself, the Animation Guild has like a whole document online. It's published. It's free to access. For
updates
how much
every year.
Yeah, exactly. For every year, it's free to access for how much your job should be paid. So always reference that and ask your friends who are like doing stuff, because we talked about this in Winnie's episode, and I literally just drew something for this quote. But please price yourselves fairly. You and your craft, you and your art are so worth it.
And the time, especially like storyboarding takes so much time.
Exactly. Like I have so much respect for you guys, because storyboard artists, they draw, they plan shots, they write. I'm like, guys, respect.
So many hats.
So many.
You guys
we like
do
half
so
animate.
much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you guys literally do so much, and I'm like, they need to be paid so well. And I'm like,
that's why I like all the industry people. I think like Cole Harrington's been really loud about it.
I follow.
They've been like, listen, like if you want me to like half animate these things and draw these characters out, beautifully and do the backgrounds perfectly and do layout, then y'all need to start paying us more.
Exactly.
Like, honestly, yeah, because, like, I told my friend, he's, like, not in the animation industry whatsoever. Like, he's a soccer player. And I was like, yeah, so storyboarders, there's two types, and you can be a board-driven or you can be on a script-driven. And if you're on a board-driven one, you don't get paid more. Even though you write the show.
Yeah.
He was like, what? I was like, yeah, no, you don't get paid more.
It makes no
Like,
sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like you're a
weird.
writer and an artist, but you do not get paid more. It's kind of wild that this is an agreed upon concept.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, what I've noticed too is like, well, I don't know why I'm the one speaking on this. Like,
No, that's great.
I'm like, no, I shouldn't be, but like, I feel like as time progresses, so much more is asked from you guys. Like, boards are just expected to, like, honestly look super clean and almost like fully animated. Or I mean, like, this is not a board. These are literally like rough
These are key
animations
animations.
already.
Yeah,
They're like
they're
key
key
animations,
frames.
and they're so clean. And another thing is like with sometimes I see like the background layouts are like so complicated already, and I'm like, that's not their job too. And I'm like, what is?
You're
what
lucky
is it?
if you get a sidewalk out of it.
Yeah.
Grid.
Oh, and a horizon
Yeah,
line.
there it is.
But like, it's just weird to me how like, I don't know. It's like you guys deserve just so much respect. You guys do so much, but at the same time, they're like not willing to like. You know,
I'm
respect
just
you, and I'm
concerned
just-
for where this job is gonna go in like a few years because it's already changed so
Yeah.
much, and I'm like, I'm gonna be in this career for how long? And
It's
screaming.
truly changing so much for you guys, and I'm just like watching from like afar, and I'm like, oh my god.
Like, it's really evolving. Like, we're expected to do. Well, it's like an easy way. I don't want to say that the animation industry is cheating, but like they're cheating by dumping a lot of work onto one group and
not
cutting
paying
everybody
you,
else's, so you
and
don't
also
pay everyone else.
Yeah, and not paying you more because like this is your title, you only get this much.
Yeah, it's like, well, you're just a storyboard artist, but like I have to design. I know like backgrounds are usually like kind of half a storyboard artist's job. Like if I'm like, this is like a low key cityscape, I gave you a couple squares.
Yeah, that's
Like,
it. That's all you get from me.
Yeah, I gave you a couple squares.
I'll use
Or,
the
like,
straight tool and then put some blocks in there.
I'll draw that, and like some people will be like, well, I don't know what's going on here. And I'm like, well, I'm not the layout artist.
Yeah.
I'm not going to design what like pictures they have up in the background.
Yeah,
And, like,
I'll
I
put
just
some
need you to
blocks in
know.
perspective so you know it's an up shop. I'm not gonna design the blocks.
No, I'm not. Like, if I'm in an office setting, I'm gonna give you the desk in the room and maybe a picture frame, so you can assume that like there's more than just like an empty.
That's
but,
all
like, people
you
be
get.
like, well, what? Do they own plants? I don't know.
I feel like that's also taking away from like the designers. Like they should
Yeah.
have freedom too. They can give the plants.
Hey, if you want to add plants to the office, by all means, like you don't have to run it by me. Like just
Does
do
it affect the story?
Make it look
yeah.
nice.
It's like only if it affects the story will I put it in. If they go to the plant and water the plant, I will draw the plant. But if it's just chilling, I'm like, well,
Exactly.
it doesn't exist in the board.
Like I think I drew like my space cadets were chilling. They have like in their dorm.
Yeah.
They have like a little sunken couch that's like in the floor,
Mhm.
and that was a pain in the ass to draw. And I'm like, thank God. Like shout out to this. Like I was like, I really wanted my friend Zoshi to make the room for me before I started designing it, because like I was like, I don't really want to design this stupid couch on the floor. But like that's something that like as an artist you have to like that controls the space. Like as a storyboard artist you have to like that has to be something you have to grid out. But like everything else, I don't think there's anything else in that room.
It's just a void.
I think I drew like some Polaroids next to the door and like a plant is suggested, and that's about it.
It's like if the like plant helps with the composition, yeah, I'll draw the plant. But literally, if it's just it's standing there, no, it's fine.
No, yeah, like I feel like I'm just filling in space when I get it. I'm like design team. What kind of?
Will
what
gladly take over.
Yes.
I don't know how you design a living room.
There you
Okay,
go.
Yeah.
Like,
This is why I'm a storyboard artist, because I don't want to design that sort of stuff.
yeah, Abby, honestly, yeah. I was like, I want to tell you what's going on, but I don't want to tell you where it's going.
Yeah, literally.
I don't really want to get into it. Like, there's a sidewalk involved.
Yeah.
And they're outside, and that's like close up.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into that.
Moving on to like, do you have any like other job hunt / like client frustrations that you like deal with, and like what do you do to help kind of like keep going or like just try to solve those frustrations.
Storyboarding is like that weird one where like you think like it's gonna be easy when like a client sends you a script and you board it, because it's like if you give me a good enough script, like like outside top view, like that's like how can I mess that up, right? But then you like do exactly what you see in the script and people are like, oh, but like I wrote that like a space cruiser flies by, but can you like do instead like a boat? And I'm like like that's the kind of thing that like I feel like freelance like storyboard artists go through. It's like you gave me a script, I read your script, I boarded it exactly the way you scripted it, I give it to you, and you're like, oh, but you should include this because that would make more sense. And I'm like, well, maybe you should have included that in the script.
Yeah.
It's like how I'm not a mind reader.
Exactly. It's all about communication, guys. And if I have to reboard it, you're gonna have to pay me for those hours. I'll do it, but just to let you know, I will be getting paid, please.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm fine fixing it, but you need to be really clear about what you need from me.
Yeah. Like, I feel that even on, like, the design sense, like, announcement to future clients, try to be as specific as possible.
Yeah, like,
just
please.
tell us exactly what you want. Don't, like, sprinkle it in, like, by the time we're at a point where we really can't, like, fix stuff.
Send mood boards.
Yeah, or, like, I think I'm done, like, I revised everything based on, like, the second, like, notes or anything, and you're like, oh, but I feel like we should add this scene, and I'm like, if you watched me, I'm really at, like, I'm like 3/4 of the way there, friend. We're at a 4x4 relay. I'm the third leg right now, and you're gonna tell me I gotta turn around and hand it back to the second guy. Basically what you're telling me when, like, you're like, oh, well, can we add this scene? When you've already seen all the scenes, I already did all your revisions, and you're coming back with another revision from something that you could have just given me off the bat the first time. That's the other thing. I feel like clients don't look close at the clients. If you could, like, really go through, look really closely at everything I've drawn, so that way there's no surprises, like, oh, by the way, this scene that I already looked at 4 times now needs to happen, that'd be great. Because I feel like what happens is, like, they just kind of click through, and they find, like, glaring things, and then they send you notes, and then you fix it, and they're like, oh, yeah, and then they click through again, and they notice another glaring thing in the very beginning, and they're like, oh, and they send notes. I'm like, well, that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
The whole time. Like, so, like, to get notes on it a second time is annoying, because it's like, well, that scene's been there, and you gave me the okay earlier, so...
I don't know, I feel like this advice is honestly for clients, because it's like, we will fix those things, and we will do it because you're paying us, but to help you save money and, like, get this project done, this is just, like, some advice.
Efficiency!
Yeah, efficiency! Yeah. Look at it again. Go to sleep. Look at it one more time.
Yeah, exactly.
While you're sleeping, wake up. Look at it a third time. Then send me notes, because that's something that I've had to deal with a few times. Not so much on Go Girl or anything like that, because I feel like they're an animation studio. They know how to, like, look through it, but, like, sometimes on, like, smaller clients.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't see. I like this, that. That's my pet peeve with art school, actually. I feel like people just sleep through art school, and then you, like, turn in an animatic, and they're like, it's good, and then you turn in your final, like, why'd you do this?
And you're like,
no. Exactly what was in my animatic.
I've had so much experience with that. Especially on the senior film, it's like, you turn it, you, like, do the first week, the animatic, and they're like, okay, it's good. The second week, you turn it, and they're like, okay, it's good. Third week, it's the same animatic, but just, like, a bit more detail, and they're like, that is wrong.
I don't like that scene anymore.
And I'm like, what? It's the same.
You were fine with it last time.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been the person in class that's been like, listen, guys. Like, I don't know if anyone in my A&B class at Micah remembers this, but I turned in like my third pass animatic, and my people in my class were like, oh, well, we don't like that part in the beginning. And I was like, the beginning has not changed. It was like that last week and the week before, and now all of a sudden you guys don't like the beginning. So what I'm hearing from you is that you did not watch.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's what that you're telling me is that you weren't interested enough, helping me enough, and interested in furthering my art career enough to watch it and give me helpful feedback. That's my pet peeve. I really like. I need to get things done on a certain timeline. So when people don't do their half of the job, it makes me frustrated.
Yeah. Moving on to something that's a bit more like positive. Do you have, besides the Crow and that story, do you have any other like dream projects or just aspirations of like goals that you want to achieve this year or in the future.
Sometime after Crow is like done and everyone's like, Tyler, please give us another TV show. Like, please. I'll be like, oh, stop it, darling. I really want to do a Magical Boy like TV show.
Yes.
Because I'm a Sailor Moon like junkie. Like I have like 2 Sailor Moon tattoos, and I'm in love with her. And like I don't know. I always like I love making shit about teenage boys. I feel like they're such like a vulnerable group. They don't want to be seen as vulnerable, but like they're such a vulnerable group. Like, oh, you guys are so stupid.
Oh my
so
goodness.
dumb. I can make so much about you because you just make mistakes all the time. And so like like high school, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool? Because I think a Magical Boy anime had come out, but that one's a little problematic, and I forget the name of it. But I was like, what if this was just like this good, wholehearted Magical Boy anime? Like they're just teenage boys and they gotta save the town every now and then, this Magical Boys. And then my brain was like, is that not just Power Rangers, Tyler? And I was like, no, it's not Power Rangers because I say it's not. And they wear cool princely outfits.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And they pull like weapons out of each other's chests. Like Revolutionary Girl. I'm like literally like shoving every like shoujo shonen anime I can think of.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I was like,
I mean, I would love to see that kind of content because like you said, like teenage boys can be angsty, but it's like, you know, let's stop with the toxicity,
gritty,
toxic masculinity. Come on,
Yeah.
let's stop
like,
with that.
they can be fabulous and have their beautiful like prince outfits on and like their bedazzled weapons.
Yes.
And they can like talk about their feelings.
Yes,
okay?
we love that.
I'm like, honestly, animation industry, this is why you should hire me. I
Yes.
have all your young adult needs. Like I'm loving all the young adult like people being like, let's make some young adult TV shows. I'm like, finally, a job for me. Because like I want to make your angsty magical boys talking about their feelings in the clubhouse. I want to make your space cadets, you know, going through the awful militarization of like children.
Oh my gosh.
I want to talk about like superheroes who have a crush on their arch nemesis.
Yes.
Like that's the kind of things I want to do. I want to talk about what teenagers are doing because I feel like they're like that's such an untouched market, and I think like honestly like I think someone brought up like there's a lot of like people like Netflix shows like especially like do like teenagers and like Riverdale where like they're like way over sexualized. And I hate that. And like I'm like whenever you make a teenage thing, like think about why they have to be teenagers. And I'm like I think that these characters need to be teenagers and not 20-year-olds because I like idiots. and not to say that like you stop being stupid when you turn 20 or 21. In fact, you probably get stupider. I feel like it's as smart as I used to be. I feel like I was smarter in high school. But like that's a calculus. But like I feel like the level of like I feel like when you turn 14 or whatever and you get some agency, like that level of like power that like you're not ready or prepared for is like so interesting to deal with.
Yeah.
Like you gave like a group of people who like for literally their whole lives has been listening to another group of people. And then you're like, all right, here's the keys to the car.
Yeah.
You know, what hijinks can possibly ensue? Like that's what I love about. Like,
Oh my god.
when you're 20, it's like you're supposed to be getting into hijinks and stuff. And when you're a teenager, you were too. But I feel like there's like a level of like, like I'm doing something like that's crazy when you're a teenager as opposed to like when you're 20 and no one cares. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, young adult animation should just really happen. Like, there's such a big market for it. Like, so many people keep screaming about it on Twitter.
Like, please let me make it young adult. Let me make it young adult magical boys, young adult space cadets, young adult superheroes. I love kid stuff. I love adult animation. I really wish there was like a level where like you could say fuck, but you can't show sex. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, literally, please let me have the first show. It's like young adult where they say fuck, just like. Because I'm with that power. Because like when I write out my stories in my head, anyways, they swear all the time. I'm like I'm gonna have to dial this back because I swear all the time. So I did a lot, and I still do. But I'm like, teenagers they say fuck like every 5 seconds. So I'm like, they can say fuck.
I mean, you see those. I sound like a grandma, but like when I downloaded a TikTok app like recently, I'm like, man, teenagers, they're doing some wild things on there.
Wild things. Like
Yeah, it's okay. Just another, like, since we're on the topic of teenagers, like, I've been interacting with, like, our roommate's teenage sister, and, like, I don't know, teenagers, yeah, they're doing some wild things now, but at the same time, it's like, teenagers do be kind of dumb. We need to see that. We really do need to see that.
Yeah, when I have a lot of teenagers in my neighborhood, and like they're like obsessed with me. I'm like, wow, this is like I've come full circle. Like I was like the cool teenagers in the neighborhood, and then I like disappeared and then came outside again, and then I came back as a 20. Yeah, and I'm like the cool tired college like student.
You're
adult.
now the cool
I'm, like, walking
adult.
my dog. They're like, hey Tyler, we know about K-pop. What do you know about K-pop? And I'm like, I know. It's EXO. They're like, yeah, EXO's still relevant. I'm like, love me, like, makes you feel good, and they're like, yeah, and they like high-five me, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like the kids are definitely all right.
Yeah.
And that's why whenever they like, Nori, hi. Whenever like I talk to them, are you good? they always make me feel like we're like maybe society's heading in a good direction. So
Yeah, that's always nice to see.
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know. We have so many potential stories that could like still be unearthed.
yeah, like don't water them down. Like sometimes if you have a
take
story
the
like, this is a little bit
opportunity.
too much for 10-year-olds, just keep it that way. they don't need anything else.
Yeah, because there's another group of people who may need it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Man, when I was 12, I didn't know what I watched. like Steven Universe kind of brought it back a little bit. Avatar, I think Legend of Korra was maybe like the last like really like young adult thing that came out. And I have Voltron a little bit, and I have some comments about Legend of Korra and Voltron that I will get into. But I love them both dearly, but they both need to be flayed. And yeah, like they're like the last young adult things that I can maybe.
Yeah, I feel like
on.
Infinity Train and Kipo are kind of like that, which I'm like, please, can we have more of this?
Keep pushing these
Please.
out. Yeah.
But before we get into maybe our last corner, is there any like final things that you want to say of like why studios, why AA Productions should hire you, why studios should hire you?
Why studios should hire me, besides the fact that I make a mean latte. I'm pretty funny.
Yeah.
You should hire me because, one, I'm a really hard worker, and I'm the kind of dumbass who will sit cross-legged on my couch for 9 straight hours making something and break my knees. Let me break my knees for you, studios. Also, I like to have money so that I can purchase more tattoos. And if you have me in your studio, I'll be the coolest looking person you've ever seen. And you get to say that. Tyler works for us. She has like 40 tattoos. She's like rivaling Donna Terrace a little bit, but like she's not there yet, but she's getting close. Like that's what you can say. So like if you want to see a cool ass person walking around with like just decked and tattoos,
That's
I'm
Tyler.
your person. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Anyway, I guess we should get into our Would You Rather corner, which for people, this is your first time hearing. It's a basically job related Would You Rather and there's like a devil question and an angel question, and I always ask the devil one. That's just my role. That's the role I've been given. But this is kind of fun to do because I just had to think of what would make me as a board artist very conflicted and sad. So would you rather board on a show that wants super, super clean boards and will delay the production to make sure they are clean versus a show that consistently changes the script after you turn in your final pass?
Like, okay, so we have like a super clean show, and they're like, this isn't clean enough.
Yeah, they're like read that one. Yeah.
Or a show that like I'm like, this is done, and they're like, no, it's not.
We have a whole new script right here.
My mentor tells me that I already draw super clean, so I'm gonna go with the clean show.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's some studios that are already like that.
Yeah, that's true.
that like I've heard some things that like, especially if you work in like prime time. I know prime time animations like Bob's Burgers and stuff. They're like really about being on model. So yeah, I would go with super clean because I feel like, okay, yeah, I like have a stray line I can clean up here and there.
Yeah, and
I'd rather do that than be like, yeah. And Server Pro is not a big deal. It's like So
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, I feel like if I kept getting a script like I'm finished this board,
Oh,
or like
man.
we've changed these things, like that's, as I've said earlier, that's my pet peeve.
Also,
I'm like,
that's just so, to constantly get that happen to you, that must be like so sad and just
I'm like a hard no. I'm not changing anything. This is a script. I'll make the show myself if I have to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like that's where I'm at. So yeah, that's where I'm
Cool.
yeah,
Nice.
great.
So I guess I'm here for the angel question then. Abby says this is actually a repeat, so I'm like, oh.
'Cause I think it's a good question.
But yeah, like after like talking with you, I think it's a good question. So would you rather be a showrunner for your pitch with a crew that reflects the kind of stories you want to represent, and they know exactly where you're coming from and share your vision, versus would you rather work for a smaller studio who invests in indie stories and like just goes beyond like the norm or like everything that's mainstream right now?
I want to conquer the planet. So I feel like
Can I make that your quote for this episode? Tyler, I want to conquer the planet.
Yeah, like as soon as I said it, like I imagined like that scene from Gurren Lagann when like they're standing on top of like this beast man, like his arms full, and like the wind blowing his jacket, and he's like total evil dude. I'm gonna have to go with showrun, and I get like the best TV stream just because like I'm like, listen, like okay, yeah, small studios are nice. Like I like having close knit friends. But I get to be God.
You can't argue with that.
You're like, this is my world.
Yeah, like
I'm
my
like,
world.
It's my world now, and you're just living.
You're gonna
in
watch Space Cadets, and you're gonna watch
it. Please.
yeah.
So, I feel like indie, like I'm totally into indie. I like shorts and stuff, and like I love all those things like Magical Girl Squad or Magical Friendship Squad,
Yeah.
sci-fi. Like I think that's great. And if Cartoona, if you're listening, wink.
Yeah.
Can I be on season 2, please, as a revisionist and or board artist?
Yeah.
I'm not picky. I'm gonna have to go with. Sure.
Nice. Yeah.
That's awesome, and this will happen in the future, and we know it.
Yeah.
I'm manifesting.
Yes.
So it's fine.
Manifest. That's been the word every episode now. We're
just
manifesting.
We're manifesting. It's like I've been manifesting before it was cool. So since like 2017, and I'm sure astrologers or on astrology Twitter are gonna be mad because they've been manifesting since 1200.
Yeah.
But like I've been manifesting since like 2016. I have like a collection of crystals and bay leaves to write my wishes on, and on full moons I release what's bothering me, and on new moons I manifest things.
Yeah.
And that's what we should all be doing. This is a little fun fact from Tyler. If you want to make your manifestations come in faster, write those shits on a piece of paper and burn it. Okay?
Yeah.
And then don't ever think about it again until it comes. I promise. Like that's what's happening for me right now. I was like, oh shit, on time, always.
Yeah, I feel like that was a great way to end the episode. A piece of advice about how to manifest your dreams from Tyler. But yeah.
Some selenite crystals.
Thank you so much for being our guest. It was such a fun
thank
episode.
Always.
Can we
Give
and of
a
course
round of applause.
yeah, we have to ask, where can people find you and hire you?
To hire me, I'm only accepting letters sent to me by mail or by carrier boy who comes to my door and kneels. Please work for me.
Prepare your carrier pigeons, folks.
Yes, it's the only way. Message in a bottle.
Yeah.
Wash the shore of the lake near my house. I will accept the man-made lake. I don't know how you're gonna get it there. But I'm Miss Washington at Miss_Washington with a 0 and a ton.
Yay.
On I think on Instagram, Twitter, and one more. It's gone.
Tumblr?
Basically, do you
Website?
have the same? You have the same user on all socials, right?
On all socials.
All
yeah.
right, that's solved.
My website is www.misswashingtonart.com. That's my brand. Is my last name. George Washington is. I'm not with him. I might be. No one's checked. So no one cares. My website's MissWashingtonArt.com. I'm Miss Washington, Miss_Washington with a 0. Yeah, if you want to hire me, you can always DM me if you're a recruiter, or email me at Tyler_Washington@live.com. And I'm never busy when it comes to people who are cool, reaching out and wanting to do cool things.
Yay, that's awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Great. And so if you also want to follow the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Hey Hire Us Pod.
They're pretty
Yeah.
cool. You guys should definitely do it.
Yeah. And if you want to support us financially, you can send us a pigeon.
Coffee.
A coffee through at co-fi / Hey Hire Us Pod.
Yes.
Yes.
That's co-fi.com.
.com.
Hey Hire Us Pod.
Sorry. It's like the 5th time, but you can
Yeah.
just go to our social media and find it there. And if you want to
everything's
email
there.
us, like talking about the show or like have any questions, you can email us at heyhirespodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yay.
watching. Thank you,
you for
Tyler, for
listening.
being our guest again.
Anytime. If
And-
you guys just want me to come on and just sit in the background
Yeah.
as moral support.
Yeah. But we'll
Yay.
see you guys next week. Bye.